before we get into the wrestling report card, check this out first.
So it's spring break in college now, and I've been, doing some lifting. And now you can see here, there's all sorts of different weightlifting equipment. You got all these types of weights that you can put on your dumbbells. But you know what's been the biggest struggle? So when I need to change the weight of my dumbbells, I literally have to put it on, screw it in. Literally every single time, if I want to add weight, I literally have to unscrew it again. But now with the AtivaFit adjustable dumbbells, I literally never have to worry about this again. Check this out. So these dumbbells actually range from 71.5 pounds all the way to 11. All you have to do to change the weight is push down the red button and literally you just turn. You can go from 22 pounds to 66 in a matter of seconds.
If you guys want these dumbbells and want to save 15% off your order, you can use my code Cayden15 to do so. The link will be in the description below.
This shit high, boy.
Shawty catch a vibe, yeah, I had to put her on. Bought a two-seater, yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty got my high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping, I'm a stun. Oh, living lively. Everybody tryna ride my wave, they can ride me. Pull up in a foreign to the curb, looking icy. I ain't never stressed about a fit, I'm on hype. I want more friends, there's a problem. I be living like a king since I hopped in. Yeah, my foot is in the bins, yeah, I'm riding with a gang. Yeah, I hit a hot lick, I'm the top shit. Bought a two-seater, it's a Beamer, more than 100 racks. VV's Aquafina, I be iced, I don't ever cap. First name deal, I got my bag, yeah, we automatic. Ice cream reefer, hold it up, yeah, we feeling gas. Driving with a top, going 100, running flow with her. Riding with my shawty, yeah, I knew I had to flow with her. Looking like a bottle, shawty bad, yeah, she know what's up. Looking at the stars, I don't fuck it up. Shawty catch a vibe, yeah, I had to put her on. Bought a two-seater, yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty got my high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping, I'm a stun. Oh, living lively. Everybody tryna ride my wave, they can ride me. Pull up in a foreign to the curb, looking icy. I ain't never stressed about a fit, I'm on hype beast.
Craft, how was practice today?
It's good.
So for this practice, we're wrestling 2 times a week now as a team. So we got in here and rolled around. We did just a little warm up. Then we just did sparring for the most part on our feet and then top bottom. And also I've been wearing my headgear like a lot lately because earlier in the season I got cauliflower ear a little bit and that was like a big push about it. Yeah. So I got headgear now. Got the new headgear because actually my last one, if you didn't see, it broke. But I highly encourage guys, if you want to be able to hear in your future, get headgear. Or wear headgear at practice.
Cayden, tell them about how you're gonna hydrate. How you're gonna hydrate after the practice with Prime.
Thankfully, with the Prime hydration, we're gonna hydrate now. Insert picture of Alec with Prime.
Well, the wrestling season has now come to an official end. Now, of course, it's been the 2021-2022 folk style college wrestling season. So if you guys do not know, this was my second year of college wrestling. And in this video, I'm going over kind of what I'm gonna be grading myself as kind of like a report card for how I did in certain positions, neutral, top, overall record. We're just gonna kind of dissect what I did this year and kind of what I need to improve on and kind of what I learned that could also help you guys out as well. So starting off straight up, we are talking all about improvement. Now, my first wrestling season, it was of course the COVID year. I really only got 4 matches in. I ended off 1-3, which 1-3. But just from an overall record standpoint, this season I had an overall 13-12 record, which puts me to 14-15 overall. Now, also last year I wasn't even the starter, I was the backup. So now kind of being the starter for the entire year and still holding a positive record, clearly improvements were made and we're on the right track. Now, I did set a goal previously in the year saying that I did want to achieve a 75% win percentage, but only this year we achieved a 52 win percentage with, I think, a bonus rate around like 4%. So for overall improvement and what I thought, I'm gonna rate myself, I'm gonna say a B-. Now, of course, I won't say an A because an A would be damn near undefeated, and I would say a C would be maybe if I was negative, still probably not the starter, would be a D or an F. But I would say from last year, I'm happy on that I'm in the right path to success. So now we're gonna talk about our neutral game, our game on our feet. And if you guys know from my high school videos, you guys knew that I had pretty much had two main wrestling moves, and that was the slide by and the fireman's. And now going into my first year of college, I tried to only do the slide by and fireman's. I think those were my only takedowns. But now this year, I am giving myself a very, very strong, I'm gonna give myself a B+ because let's just say I learned some more attacks, not necessarily learned them, but to be able to do them in an actual match, that makes the total difference. There's one thing when you're doing them in practice over and over again, but then when you actually do it in a real life match, you know, that becomes your arsenal and your repertoire, and that means you can use that, and that makes you dangerous. And you know, my biggest pickup from this year was that on neutral, the biggest thing is every single person watches film. Honestly, right now, it doesn't even matter if I have a YouTube channel, I'm filming my matches, if I'm worried about other people are going to see them, because all the duels are recorded, and people can get film on absolutely anyone. So kind of that puts a little stress off my back, knowing that everyone knows pretty much anything they wanted to about who they want to wrestle. But being unpredictable is the biggest strength, especially on your feet, whether it be setups, which leg you go to, what's your stance. And I noticed that switching it up in duels and matches, I mean, it plays a big role in the outcome of the match. You know, and that's the thing, if you're in high school watching this right now, I promise you can be good if you are just really good at 1 or 2 moves. Once you get to college, it's not going to be that way. It just will not happen unless clearly you're like an anomaly. But you're definitely going to need to learn to open up and to use more moves in your arsenal. So for the top and bottom game, this has always been a struggle for me. Now that I'm in college now, many of you guys know that I almost always choose neutral, just because when I'm on bottom, it's not that I necessarily get turned, but it's just I cannot get up. But even this year, it was different from the beginning of the year to, you know, still not being able to get out, but to the end of the year at the regional tournament, I just would get out multiple times, and I think I owe that a lot to practices and going in there for extra work. You know, that's something that is always going to be there. We're always going to have to get better in those positions, but for bottom specifically, I'm going to rate myself a C. Now, of course, this is due to me always choosing neutral. I want to be that guy, you know, that always chooses bottom, because you know you're going to get away. You know, it's a crucial extra point. And, you know, even sometimes when I did pick bottom, there was even one match this year where the other guy picked top and rode me out for the whole third period. Kudos to him, but I ended up winning that match. But still, I kind of want to get out in those positions, and I don't want to, you know, sit there and hang on to a lead. I don't want to be that guy. So giving myself a C, I think, would be acceptable for that. But now going to the top game, this one, I'm actually going to have to rate myself a D. So in my 25 matches this year, I managed to get back points on 2 of the 25 opponents, and one of that, of course, being, you know, a teammate. Now, I did get a lot better on mat returns, especially from last year, and that's one thing that, you know, I worked on, and I feel more stronger in those positions. But the thing is, I just need to work on my turning, and also just to drop down to a leg, kind of get that riding time point. I think I've only got 1 or 2 points this season by riding time. So, you know, I'm really, you know, not happy, of course, not satisfied on the top game at all. But slowly we're getting better, and this summer we're going to definitely spend a lot of time in those positions in order to get wrists, start turning people, and heck, start winning a lot more matches. Now, you guys all know this. You know, you guys are probably, you know, all wrestlers, and you all know that wrestling is a very, very demanding sport. No matter what level you're in. You know, we wrestle 2-hour practices every day of the week. We're working, but all for literally possibly one 7-minute wrestling match when we wrestle like 10 hours a week. It's almost silly how much time is to be put in order to be, you know, a great wrestler. And there are many times this season where I would do extra things outside the practice, whether that be more rope climbs after practice, getting extra lifts in, just rolling around the room for a little bit. But with that being said, of course, there were things that I regret that I kind of didn't do more. And that would be to ask, you know, the coach for like more like one-on-one sessions, and to almost have those 2-a-day practices. And also on spring break, I went back to the ask room practices, and one thing that I'm trying to do there is to ask more questions. You know, Max makes it, you know, a point all the time that, you know, after practice, the guys that are raising their hands for questions are, you know, usually the best guys in the room. And now, honestly, in all my years at Askren or whatever, I've never even asked one question. But every practice that I did go back this spring break, I made sure to ask a question, because I know that I'm limiting myself if I'm not, you know, getting these questions answered. And even if I don't really have a question, I eventually find something that I needed more work or more help in live that maybe wasn't working. It's also just some things that you guys can utilize in your next season. I suggest setting small goals, utilizing more attacks, being consistent, and asking for help. Make sure you guys look back on this season, you know, congratulate yourself if you did well. Maybe if you didn't do as good as you wanted to, you know, still give yourself credit. You know, this is a hard sport. You showed up to practice, you put in the work, you put your foot on the line, and heck, you probably got, you know, some more seasons of wrestling to go. But I hope you guys did have a great end of your season. But if you, of course, are not satisfied, quite like myself, let's use this as motivation, and let's get a great start to the next season. Let's train today. Thanks guys for watching. If you guys did enjoy, I would very, very much appreciate if you guys would like the video and also subscribe. That really, really helps out. And we'll see you guys in the next video.
This is Cayden's vlog.
Merch link is in the description. Thanks guys.
Beep, beep, go fast, I can park round. I took my shot and yeah,